Hello, welcome to the data channel and you're watching Microsoft Fabric Data Engineering DP-700 course. And as part of this course, we are bringing the introductory part of it. So in this, we will be covering the actually what will be coming up in this course. So what you can expect out of this course, what exactly the certification means for you, what is the path of the learning look like. So all these details we will be looking into this certification in this introductory video. So before proceeding, if you are new to this channel, we would recommend you to please subscribe and also press bell button for instant notifications. So let's get started. All right. So this is an introductory video. So we'll be covering these of the few of the topics like what is Microsoft Fabric Data Engineering, and what exactly this means for different roles. Maybe who is this certification meant for? If you is it for data engineers? Is it for data analyst? Which role actually has to take the certification, right? And why we need to learn the certification, right? So why part, we have put a link in the description. You can go in the link in the description and understand why exactly you need to learn the Microsoft Fabric certification. This is just a previous video in this playlist. Also, you can refer why part, and also you can uh, check the link in the description. Why part in detail we will be explaining, right? And like the prerequisite part, right? So the prerequisite, what are the prerequisite you need to have as part of before getting into the certification of Microsoft Fabric Data Engineering, right? So should we really need to have some prior knowledge before taking this course? So that we will be explaining. And also what exactly the course content. So this course content is not designed by me, or it is not designed by anyone. So it is designed by Microsoft itself, because it is a Microsoft certification. They have designed the course content, and they have set of contents that needs to be covered as part of the certification. We will be looking into that, and also we will understand what exactly the difficulty level, so that you might be curious of before starting this preparation, you might be wondering what is the difficulty level that you need to be aware of, right? So these are the topics that we'll be covering, and especially why we need to learn is, again, I'll just you can refer to the previous video. Otherwise, I'll just have a quick recap of why part, right? Why means this DP-203 is retiring, so that certification is no longer valid. So you need to take the DP-700 certification. So that is quite important, and it's also to increase the competitiveness in the market, and also have the career advancement in your own domain that you're working in, or the data engineering domain that you're working in. And also it increase the credibility of your profile, of your resume, right? And it gives industry centric curriculum, so that comes up with a lot of practical knowledge. It is not just about some giving some theoretical knowledge. It takes a use case and explains how to crack the use case at real world scenarios, so that's quite important. And also it demonstrates the skills to the external clients, or the consultation that where you are giving the to the client. So it gives that credibility, and also the technical knowledge validation it gives, right? So these are the different points that we have explained in the previous video. You can go and check the previous video if you are interested to know about why to learn the Microsoft Fabric. Okay, but rest other topics we'll be covering in this video, right? So Microsoft Fabric is a kind of a new topic, new technology or a new tech stack that's been introduced by Microsoft. It is a unified analytical platform. What that means is, you might be working in different roles pertaining to data, right? You might be data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, AI or ML kind of engineer, or you are just as a business, you are looking into some kind of reports, or you might be a Power BI or a visualization engineer, which actually is responsible of handling the reporting part of it. So you might be any one of these, right? So there are different roles as a in the enterprise level. So there might be different roles who are working with the data in different taking data into consideration. So they have their own different roles and responsibility to do, right? However, so this the fabric is kind of integrating all of these technologies, right? So they irrespective of what technologies or what role that you are having, so it actually integrates all in one platform. So let's consider if you are a data analyst. So previously you need to get the data from source. You need to get the data in an Excel dump or something, and you need to do your analysis. And then as a data engineer, so they actually create a connectivity to the source systems and target systems, perform ETL kind of operations, right? And then comes the data scientist who is interested in the data which is coming in real time or near real time, and do their analysis. So there is a lot of data movement happening here, right? So the like there is a duplicate work. Basically, analyst is taking the using the same data, but for the different perspective, and data engineering engineer also is using the same data again for the different perspective. So there is a lot of data movements happen between the teams, or teams of different roles, right? So that's the problem. And also there might be case where a project X is using the data of project Y, and so they want to physically transfer the data. So right, and because there is no proper governance, data governance around it, so they have to every time they have to take the headache of data movement, data governance, and getting all kind of approvals related to that. So that becomes quite tedious, right? So these are all the different use cases that share the data across different organizations, different teams, right? Different roles, different peoples who are working in different roles. So now Microsoft has trying to make it simple, right? And it aim is to streamline the entire data ecosystems using a set of tools, services, and framework that we will be completely discussing in this certification course, right? And what exactly happening here is here it is integrating the technologies. So you might have heard about Azure Data Factory, Synapse, and Power BI kind of Power BI kind of tools that's already there in Azure. So they are trying to integrate all in one um, in one tech stack basically, right? So previously, even though they were part of Azure, even but when you are creating them and when you are managing them, right? So they were different components itself. But here, if you have Fabric, you can just at a click of a button, you can enable all of these services, and all of this will be using the same data which is there in one lake. What exactly one lake, right? So we have heard about data lake, delta lake, and now the one lake is coming. So we will be discussing about one lake, why exactly the concept of one lake, right? And there is a lot of importance, and especially with the certification of data engineering. So what we will be looking into is so if you really see, we would be interested in data factory, obviously, because as a data engineer you are responsible to get the data, whether you do a ETL or ELT. You have to establish the connectivity to the source system, target systems. You have to orchestrate those pipelines, and you are responsible to bring the data into the different from the different source systems and apply the transformations. When the transformations part comes in, where there is a data engineering concept, where you use predominantly the Databricks kind of notebooks, especially like Spark, uh, PySpark, and SQL. It's all about that, right? And you need to also understand the data warehouse concepts as part of the certification, because you have to interact with data warehouse very closely as a data engineer. And since the data is kind of stored in one lake physically, so there are different concepts that Microsoft Fabric is bringing. So it is bringing a concept of shortcuts, it is bringing a concept of mirroring. So these are very new topics actually, which would be very interesting to understand. So we will discuss that in detail in the upcoming videos. And so obviously we are not looking into any of these, right? So any of these other concepts we are not interested in, but we are interested in these topics as a data engineering certification into predominantly. And also we will have the understanding of security governance, compute storage aspects of it. All these will be covered, and this is what the Microsoft Fabric data engineering is, right? And who this is for? That means you might be wondering, like, I'm holding XYZ role and I'm currently in this state, whether I'm good to take the certification. So the answer is if you are a data engineer, yes, it is a must-have certification, and especially you are into Azure stack, it is must-have certification because this is a future of data engineering in when it comes to Azure, and it is having a lot of validation in the market, so it is must-have for any data engineers, right? And if you are a big data consultant or if you're an architect who is working in the enterprise projects, yes, it is again a must-have because it gives you the validation of understanding the deep tech of fabrics, right? And as a data analyst, I would not say it is recommended. It is good to have, right? It is just good to understand because it is having a lot of data engineering aspects. It might be too much technical for a data analyst to understand or to kind of digest the topics. But if you have some technical skill set like programming language and understanding of SQL, understanding of big data, so then even though you're a data analyst, you can attempt this certification, but it is not mandatory. Okay. And for AI ML engineers also it is not mandatory because those people are more into like building models and stuffs like that. So they would not be much interested in the data orchestration part of it where the data engineering role comes in. And same with data scientist. It is good to have for them as well, but not mandatory. And interestingly, college grads like who are freshly graduated or who are in the early careers, right? So it is, I would recommend it is must have. The reason is you have a long journey to go, and as part of this journey, so Microsoft Fabric will be the future, right? So because it is a future, so whether you might be end up in a role of architects, big data consultants, or data engineer, senior data engineer roles in future, so definitely the Fabric analytics will definitely help you in near future. So I would recommend you to spend some time for the certification if you are a fresh grad, yeah, or in the in your early careers, yeah. So the next is prerequisites. What are the things that you know need to have before you start this attempting the certification, right? Again, it is good to have D core concepts, like what are the data engineering core concepts? What are the big data concept? What is a big data concept? Whether it might be a what exactly that big data is, and if you are aware of these two, these two are very theoretical concept if you ask me, right? So these are very theoretical concepts. You can have some learning in YouTube videos or understand what exactly big data means and what exactly the data engineering core concepts are, right? But there are very theoretical concepts, right? So, and basics of Delta Lake and Data Lake. So this is kind of a little practical knowledge. It's not very easy to obtain just by reading something or by just by watching some videos. If you know Delta Lake and Data Lake, it is actually good because it will be easy for you to attempt the certification. All right. Otherwise, it is not impossible, but it is little difficult if you don't know these topics, to be very honest. Yeah. And also basics of ETL and data warehouse concept is needed here to understand. So again, it's a mix of both theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge you need to have here. What is ETL? What is ELT? What is Synapse like Azure Data Warehouse, right? So all those topics you need to be having some understanding. And Spark is actually it is a must, I would say. At least the basic knowledge is must with a PySpark because the transformation part that we discuss about in this certification is more of a Spark, and you need to understand at least basics of Spark architecture, and along with that Python is good to have. And SQL, I think as a data engineer, there is no exception. You need to have at least intermediate level of SQL knowledge, and that is a fair expectation, I would say. So these are the some of the prerequisite that you need to have. Don't worry if you don't know any one of these, you can still put a effort, but the difficulty level of the exam will be little high if you are not familiar with any of these topics, right? So you need to put instead of putting like 1 month, you need to put 3 months of effort, right? But if you are familiar with at least out of six, if you are familiar with 4 to 5 concepts in this, it will become easier and you can try to attempt the certification in 1 or 2 months, right? So that's the expectation here. But the main prerequisite is to have that the curiosity, the learning curiosity, and also to have that consistent effort that's been put into certification. I would recommend you to please take notes of while we are explaining these concepts. That will kind of bring you more kind of interest in interest, and gives the extra enthu to kind of learn these kind of concepts, right? So next is the actual core content. So I'll not go in detail of these topics. So it is just I'm flashing up in the screen how exactly the course content looks like. This is again as per the Microsoft like certification course content. So they have divided into 5 different modules, and each module has their own kind of topics, right? It might be ingesting data, and start with ingesting the data, obviously, and introduction to end-to-end analytics using Microsoft Fabric, and some real-time intelligence with Fabric, and implement a data warehouse with Fabric. So data warehouse concept is important, right? And manage a Microsoft Fabric environment. So here the interesting is that they have introduced this CI/CD concepts, like integrating with Fabric. If you are a DevOps person, so it would be really interesting to know, right, how exactly they it integrates with Fabric, integrates with CI/CD concepts. Yeah, quite interesting course content. It is actually, if you compare to DP-203, DP-203 certification that you might already aware of. So there, the CI/CD was not much of a given preference, but in the certification, CI/CD is given preference. And so since the Fabric is kind of it brings everything into one umbrella, right? So it might be data engineering, data warehouse, data science, analytics, and reporting. Everything is coming one under one umbrella. So definitely it will be interesting to learn about this course. Okay, so let us understand the difficulty level, right? So the difficulty level of this exam. So I think many of you might have this question: how easy or difficult this certification is to attempt, right? So definitely you might be at any level of knowledge. You might be master in data engineering, or you might be kind of having a lot of experience. I would not say it is like a low, because it is not a easy exam, guys, right? So it is definitely needs some, even though if you are having even though you are having some good experience in data engineering domain, even though you have all the prerequisite that you have, so you need to put at least a month of effort to kind of understand what exactly the expectation of Microsoft here. So I would not put this certification into a low kind of a difficulty level, definitely not. Okay. And so is it extremely uh, difficult? No, it might not be extremely difficult. I would say it is either medium or high. Okay, so why medium or high? What exactly, see, the difference between medium and high again depends on what is the prerequisite that you have, right? So the prerequisite that I was flashing in the previous screens, so if you're having at least 4 or 5 in this, right? So then it will become a medium complexity. But if you don't have any of this, or if you have less than 3 prerequisite out of these, so then the certification uh, might be not medium, but it actually is high. Okay, it depends. This difference will depend on the prerequisite that you actually own currently. Okay, but so it might be extremely difficult for a people who don't have any knowledge about data, right? So any knowledge about what we're talking about, right? So then again, then it become difficult, and you don't have any idea about this prerequisite that we are talking, right? So you don't know any one of these, you never heard about any one of these, so then obviously this certification is not for you, because you need a lot of work, or you need to have a lot of understanding. So then again, I would not recommend you to take this course, because it is not for you. So but even though if you're falling under medium and high, so you can kind of attempt this certification, and have this certification cleared in maybe one month to 3 month, depends on where exactly you lie, whether in the medium scale or the high scale, right? So this is all about the certification detail and the introductory video about Microsoft Fabric Data Engineering Associate certification. Yeah, like in the upcoming videos, we will be coming up with the detailed course. And if you have any questions about this course, feel free to comment in the comment section. I'll try to answer as much as possible. Thank you. Thanks for watching.